It's been 30 years. But I think back to those times when I was in high school. I think about getting involved in clubs, organizations, involvement in high school. And at that time, kind of idealistic. I was a little bit disappointed, I guess, as I would go to the different meetings, whether it be student government or Key Club or FBLA or whatever it might be. It was the same people. The same people in all the organizations. I mean, I went to a small high school, but there was just a small group that took the leadership roles and wanted to do something. I remember thinking, I can't wait to go to college. I can't wait to go to college because when you get in college, everybody's going to be involved, everybody's going to be excited. And guess what? I came to Northwestern. Yes, I was a freshman with Retha Cole Cox right here, so we were freshmen together. But I remember going to the first meetings. I was a student government senator, and I was a member of clubs, organizations, a fraternity. And guess what I saw? Same group that really did the rounds. They were the leaders, and they really got involved in all that. And I remember when I graduated, I can't wait to go out to teach and coach and go out in the real world. And then everybody's going to have this passion, and they're going to be really committed to what they're doing. And guess what I found? The same ones at the coaching clinics that were sitting on the front row trying to observe and take in and soak in knowledge was just a small percentage. And everybody else was out there trying to drink beer and do whatever and weren't worried about the things to better themselves. So years ago, I started writing some things down. I wrote some things down. Coach Pivotal, Coach McCarthy, Greg Burke, Dr. Webb, some of the things from people I really admire. And I wrote some things down that a lot of these leaders, they all had some of the same traits. It's not an all-inclusive list, but I want to go over a few things and kind of relate a few stories. So guys, I just want to let you know I'll be sitting up here hopefully 20 years from now talking to another group, and I'll be telling stories about some of you all. I told a couple on Shane and Lane and Shane while I was here tonight, but I'll be telling some of these stories. But I want to say a few stories about my time at Northwestern. I've been very blessed. This is my 24th. I'm finishing my 24th year at Northwestern. As Doug mentioned, I started off in the athletic department. I coached for 6 years, was director of recruiting, director of enrollment, director of the Alumni Association, director of the foundation, now dean of students. So I can't keep a job, and Dr. Webb keeps moving me around so I can stay at the university. So 24 wonderful years. But what I want to talk to y'all about tonight, and other folks, if y'all just bear with me a little bit, I want to talk to you about something I call traits of successful people. I want to tell you just some different traits that I've noticed and I've observed from some of these same people that have been successful, whether it was in teaching, coaching, business, they had some of these same traits. And the first one that I've notified, y'all probably heard of this since y'all were little, because your parents probably tell you, set your goals, get what your goals, what you're going to do with life and all that. But I can tell you right now, successful people, leaders, are goal-oriented. I promise you, when I go on vacation in the summer, I just don't get in the car and I have my family with me and I say, where are we going? How are we going to get there? I can promise you, we got a goal in mind and we're going to do it. I want to tell you a little story. I got my sports information director here so he can verify the story if you don't believe me. When I started at Northwestern in 1988, I was hired as the women's track and cross-country coach at the university. So we were starting a young program, starting from the ground level. We had kind of a club sport before that. And we decided we wanted to have women's athletics, women's track and field, and cross-country. We started a program. So I was young, I was excited, I was passionate, I was ready to start this program. We go out, I'm going to make a very long story short, as I can make it. We go out the first year, we run the conference cross-country meet. It was held right here at Northwestern, right at the rec complex. Does anybody know what cross-country, the sport of cross-country is? Basically, you have 7 runners, okay? And those runners score, and whatever place you come in, that's the number you get. So if you're first, you get 1. If you're 50th, you get 50. So we're in the Southland Conference. There's 10 schools in there, 7 runners each. My math is not great, but 10 times 7, there were 70 runners. So I'm excited. We run. I know we're not the best team, but we run that first conference meet right out here at the rec complex. So excited. Bought them new uniforms that year, white tops and purple shorts. I can remember to this day. And Northwestern across the front of it. And we ran that race, and as I sat on the, I guess it would be number 18 at Northwestern, as they come down that hill, here comes the leaders of the race, and I'm watching, and I got my clipboard. I look good. I got my clipboard, I got my whistle, I got my stopwatch. I got everything I'm supposed to have. And as the race comes in, I see all the runners come. And then I look at the very end of the race, and then I see coming over that hill, I see these beautiful white and purple uniforms. I wish I hadn't bought them. But here we come at the end of the race. And folks, let me tell you what we were. 64th, 65th, 66th, 67th, 68th, 69th, 70th. We weren't last, we were dead last. And if you ain't ever been there, there's a difference. Last, I mean, embarrassing last. So I sat there on that stump that day, and I had a decision to make. One, I'm getting the heck out of here. This is not worth it. Or second, and thank goodness I took that second one, I said, excuse my grammar, Dr. Lamb, this ain't going to happen again. This is not going to do whatever it takes, but this is not going to happen again. Called the group in the next year. We came in, had a new freshman class, went out recruiting, came back freshman year. We had our team meeting that year. I said, okay, we're going to set some goals. And they kind of loosey-goosey said, all right, what's going to be the goals? I said, all right, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to do this for us. In 4 years, we're going to be the conference champions. What did they do? They kind of laughed. It wasn't serious. We're going to be the conference champion. That's our long-term goal. This year, it's going to be a simple goal. I told them it's going to be a simple goal. They don't realize how hard it's going to be. I said, we're just not going to be last. So we started working. And we started working. We had a little focus. We had a goal. And we ran, that year we went over to San Marcos, Texas. We ran the conference meet. Again, those purple and white uniforms. They fired the gun. We ran the 3-mile race. At the end of the race, here comes the race. And guess what I see? Here comes the runner. And in the middle of the race, I see purple and white. Toward the end, purple and white uniforms. Toward the end, purple and white. As the race finished, I looked to the back. I didn't see anybody. So I knew we'd got better. We totaled up the scores. What was our goal for that first year? Not to be last. We totaled up the scores, 10 teams. Guess what place we're in? 9. We were 10. We were 10. But folks, I saw some improvement. We were last, but we weren't dead last. Coming that second year, I called them into the team meeting. I called them into the team meeting. What's our long-term goal? We're going to be conference champion in 3 years. What's our short-term goal? We're not going to be last, coach. Oh, no. That was our goal last year. We're going to be in the top 5 this year. We're going to be in the top 5. We start working hard. We run, we work hard. We go to Sam Houston State University, Huntsville, Texas. We run the conference meet. Gunfires, they go off. We're looking good. Comes in, the race finishes. We total up the scores. What's our goal for that year? Top 5. Guess what place we got? 6th. 6th. Yes, I did. Go back and check it. Third year, girls come in, team meeting. What's our goal? 2 years. We're going to be conference champions. What's our goal for this year? Top 5. Oh, no. That was our last year's goal. We're going to be in the top 3. We're going to be in the top 3. We'll go out, train hard, get a little bit harder. As the higher your goal set, the harder you got to work. We go over to Nacogdoches, Texas. We run at Stephen F. Austin. We run a conference meet. Fire the gun. Here comes the beginning of the race. Top 10. See a purple and white in there. Top part of the race. All my Northwestern runners are in. Add up all the scores. Guess what place we got? 4th. Y'all get the thing. You think I'm making this up? Go check it. Next year we come in. We know what our goal is for that year. What's our goal? We're going to be the conference champion. And I told them, if you're going to be the conference champion, you got to live, you got to eat, you got to breathe, you got to do everything like the conference champion. And let me tell you what, for 4 months it was wonderful. Now you got a team of about 10 different young ladies from all walks of life in different places. That's tough to keep them focused for 4 months. But we did. We did everything we were supposed to do. We ate the right foods, we trained, we worked together, they didn't go out, we kept them out of the bars, we did whatever it took. Hired a sports psychologist, we met with them everything. We tried hypnotism, we did everything. We go to the conference meet. It was at what we call Northeast University back then, Northeast Louisiana University, which is University of Louisiana Monroe now. And we did everything right. The meet was in Monroe, everybody else stayed in Monroe. We didn't stay in Monroe, we stayed in Ruston. We were going to stay by ourselves, we didn't want any distractions. We drove out there, we go right there, we trained, we did everything we were supposed to do. We go to that meet, they fired the gun, and boy, it was a thing of beauty. You should have seen it. You could tell right now it was going to be a 3-horse race. It was University of Texas, Arlington, there was Texas, San Antonio, and there was a lady league was at Northwestern State. And it was beautiful. I told them if these girls come up right beside you, just give them a little nudge. Because we're going to fight our way through this. We're going to win this race. We go out there and we run. The top 10 comes in. Boy, there's Northwestern, all throughout the top 20. We added up all the scores. Guess what place we got? I wish it had a happy ending. We were third. We were third. So I'll go over there and I had the task of telling those young ladies that they didn't win, because it was a close race. There were 3 teams and everybody else was winning back, and I had to tell them. So when I told those young ladies, what did they do? What do young ladies do when you tell them bad news? They cried their eyes out. And that's when I said, I go over to Coach Peter, I said, time out, time out. What are you crying for? I said, Coach, we let you down. Your goal was 4 years. We worked all in 4 years. I said, step back and look what you've done. When we started this thing, where were you? Coach, we were last. I said, no, you were dead last. There's a difference. And look at you now. Folks, what did they do? Look at the mentality of if you have goals and you set those goals high. Folks, you're not always going to meet your goals. But look at the successes that they came in. And when the All-Louisiana team came out, we had 4. Northwestern, I'm talking about LSU and everybody on that state cross-country team. When the all-conference team, we had 2 young ladies in all-conference. I took one of those young ladies up to Boston to run the United States Cross-Country Junior Championship. She was 2nd in the United States, the 2nd American, 3rd overall. You see the successes when they got a little focused and it wasn't just all about fun and games? Goal-oriented, remember that. Let me go on to number 2 quickly. Number 2 that I noticed from successful people, and that's commitment. Commitment. Being committed to something. Folks, you got to be passionate about something. Guys, I'm sure you're passionate about this fraternity. I hope you are. You've got a lot of folks pulling for you. You've got a lot of support here. But are you committed to something? Because there's a difference between being a part of something and being committed to something. Let me tell you a little story about something, and it won't be a long story about the best story I heard about commitment. There was this man, he had 3 young men working for him. He had a big business. He was a seafood wholesaler. And he had there were 3 brothers working for him. One day, somebody knocked at the door. It was the dad of these 3 boys that came to visit this guy. And he said, first of all, I want to let you know I appreciate you hiring my 3 sons. I appreciate you more than you ever know. But I got a question. If you don't mind me asking, I got a question. You pay one of them $2,000 a month. You pay another one $3,000 a month. And you pay a third one $5,000 a month. I appreciate you giving them a job, but can you tell me why that you pay them different wages? The president kind of smiled a little bit. He said, well, I won't tell you why. But he says, if you can stay a while, I'll show you why. And he says, I got all day. He said, well, it may take all day. Pull up a chair. So the president picked up the phone. He called the first boy. And he called the first son, the one he paid $2,000 a month. And he called him up and he said, I heard a boat just came in, docked outside of New Orleans. Will you go down there and see what's on board? 3 minutes later, the phone rang. It was that first son. He said, boss man, I didn't even have to go down there. I got a friend that works down there at the docks, and there's 1,000 pounds of shrimp on board. He said, I appreciate it. He hung up the phone. Then he called the second son, same request, the one that makes $3,000 a month. He says, I heard a boat just came in, docked outside of New Orleans. Will you go down there and see what's on board? An hour later, the phone rang. It was the second son. He said, boss, I just went down to the boat, and it one just docked, and it's got 1,000 pounds of shrimp on board. He said, I appreciate it. Then he called the third son, made the same request. Heard a boat just came in. Would you go down there and see what's on board? 3 hours later, there was a knock on the door. He told the dad to go back in the back room, and it was that third son. And he says, boss, he says, I went down there was 1,000 pounds of shrimp on board. He says, I knew we had a customer that was looking for the shrimp, so I bought them at $3 a pound, and I sold them for $6 a pound. I just made us $3,000. And also on board, there was 1,000 pounds of oysters. I know we don't really handle oyster sales, but I had another customer that was looking for some oysters. I got a commission off of it, so it would make us $2,000 to $4,000. And also on board of that boat, there were some redfish on board. And I know that you like to do the redfish and examine them yourself. I looked at them, they looked great, but I took an option out on them for 3 hours. That way you can go look at them where you can make the sale. And the boss said, I appreciate you. And then he left. And then the dad came out from the back and says, now do you understand why I paid one of them $2,000 a month, one of them $3,000 a month, and one of them $5,000 a month? Y'all understand? One of them did what? First of them did what? He didn't even do what the boss said. He said, go down there and see what's on board. What did he do? Oh, but I got a friend that works down there. Can we relate to that sometimes? The second one did what? He did just the minimum. He told him to go down there and see what's on board. He picked up the phone an hour later and said, they got 1,000. But what did the third son? He went the extra mile. You got it? Being committed to what you're doing. Third trait, positive attitude. I love talking about